Hey.
Coming soon.
All right. We are in week 16, and what a couple of performances we've seen already over these last couple of games. Like Alvin Kamara started the weekend with historic performance, 6 touchdowns. Then we saw Tom Brady take the next step. He had like 4 touchdowns in the first half and then didn't come back for the second half. We saw Gronk post 2, Evans post 2, Godwin post 1, Brown post 1. Then after that, we had the dud game. We have to call that 49ers Cardinals game a pure dud. And then boom, we had that great Dolphins and Raiders game where I know my boy Hammer, huge Raiders fan, has a lot of emotions in regards to this game.
We're not talking about that shit. Season's over. We ain't
a-
talking about that shit.
As we saw, and as the talented Mr. Taco predicted on the Daily Sporting Stardom Cinema that I did yesterday special, Miles Gaskins though.
Old childish Gambino in the face looking ass.
Bro, Miles Gaskin was the man yesterday. He rushed for 84 yards. He caught 86 yards worth of passes, and he had 2 touchdowns. What a game. What a game. I'm the talented Mr. Taco from the Daily Sporting. This is Hammer from Hammer's house. We're on Spotlight Sports for this exclusive Stardom Cinema. And Hammer, how you feeling today?
Man, our season's over. It is what it is. It's always next year.
Here's the biggest question. If you had Mariota, would you have won?
Hard to say.
And Carr didn't even look terrible yesterday.
No, he didn't. He didn't. And the funny thing is, it's like all of a sudden Dolphins are that desperate. Yo, let's put in Fitzpatrick late in the
how
quarter.
Perfect was that, though? How perfect was
that?
Like,
yo, that's just dirty, man. Like,
oh my god. And Tua has been named the starter for next week already.
Of course. Yeah, we gotta win. It's okay. Fitzpatrick got the win for you guys. You'll be able to start next week too. Like,
yep.
Bullshit. Whatever.
I mean, it made perfect sense though, because Tua wasn't pushing the ball downfield. They needed to score some points, so you bring in your big arm and you let him do what he got to do, and he did. And oh my god, that pass to Miles Sanders. I mean, not to Miles Sanders, to Miles Gaskins. 56-yard touchdown in that third quarter.
Fucking missed tackle, a legit easy tackle, and just couldn't make it happen. Like, it is what it is. Yo, relax.
I cannot lie. Miles Gaskin is on my only championship team that I have.
No wonder you're so hype on him right now.
I'm watching everything. I'm like, there's no way I'm benching him. There's no way I'm benching him. There's no way I'm benching him. And then bam, he comes in and delivers with 3 times the points that he's projected to get. So I am not mad. I am so glad. But I mean, I think today is going to be a wild Sunday in football. We're seeing already a couple of players coming down. I mean, if we saw what happened in Cleveland, that was absolutely ridiculous. The whole wide receiver room basically was put on the COVID list from fucking close contacts. So they're really number 1 wide receiver right now is Marvin Hall versus a horrible Jets defense nonetheless. But
hey, they beat the Rams last week.
Yes. And Marvin Hall, we have to say, is much worse than any of the receivers they faced last week. So, I mean, that is a big improvement. Maybe May could really shut stuff down and really, dominate in that backfield. But I don't see the Jets pulling off another win, first of all. Second of all, I think it's going to be an interesting game to see what happens for, the Browns. I think we could be looking at a game where Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb just go off.
Yep.
And I think it's a game where if you have Austin Hooper, especially at that tight end, which isn't the easiest position to fill, he might be a guy that you look at and you kind of go, okay, I might want to roll with an Austin Hooper today just because he's going to become one of the top pass catching options for that team. So like we say in fantasy football, volume is everything.
Anything can happen, man. Anything can happen. Like, this is going to be very, very interesting for the Browns. Like, do we see the Jets becoming potentially spoilers today? Is a possibility. Mm-hmm. It's funny you guys are talking about this because I was just going to. All right, go ahead and ask away, Lucius. Would you go with the Browns defense or the Bills defense? With so many people from the Browns getting more heat on the Browns defense with the offense not on full cylinders.
Well, the Bills have a great matchup this week because they're facing the Patriots, and the Patriots have looked like crap. The Patriots have Harris, who's going to be more than likely hurt. But the Jets are the Jets. Like I don't care what they did last week. They're fucking the Jets. They're not someone that you really trust or you fear when you set a lineup. So I mean, I think that the Jets probably have. I mean, do they have as many playmakers as the Patriots right now?
No,
That's debatable. Because I'll be honest, Sonny Michel hasn't looked terrible. Harris doesn't look terrible, and Cam Newton is still Cam Newton. Like he could still do decent, but I don't think the Bills are a horrible play. And I definitely agree with your thinking on the Browns, where it could be a situation with having no offense. It could put their defense in bad situations where they could give up points. And you know, if we saw like the game last night versus the Raiders and the Dolphins, in the whole third quarter, no offense could move the ball. And it literally became just a field position battle. It's like 3 downs and I'm punting, 3 downs and you're punting. Oh, you punted close enough that I can get almost a field goal here. Boom. And that's how that game was rolling. So I think that it could very well be a situation like that where the defenses could be in bad situations just because the offense isn't moving the ball and you're going to give the Jets short field. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. I think that's a true toss-up, and it really depends on what your gut's saying because these are, you know, there's some skill and there's some luck. So at this point in time, the skill situation says it's an even game. Now it comes down to where do you feel more lucky. I would probably bet on the Browns just because I don't trust the Jets at all. I don't think that they're going to do good. And we know Sam Darnell is a turnover machine since college.
That's a fact.
Yep. And another player that I saw that was inactive this week, or they're really speculating about, is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen right now. When I went to bed last night, Shefty was reporting that he's more than likely going to be out. Today I heard that there's a possibility he might be able to go. So I think that's someone that we have to look at and see what's going on. Is he going to play? Should you be sliding in, you know, a Ty Johnson? That's really going to be something that as we get closer to kickoffs and they announce the full active and inactive lineups, we'll be able to have a good idea of who we should be playing.
What up, Darren? Hope all's well, bro. Ask away if you got any questions for Stardom Sit-em right now. And like Taco just said, 11:30 they're going to roll out the first actives and inactives for the 1 o'clock game. So definitely keep an eye out. Me and Jake were talking about Keenan Allen last night, and he thought he was out. So if it's still up in the air, we got to wait until they release the actives and inactives for today. But against the Broncos, if he's there, he's there. If not, they're still going to shine with Johnson and Williams and Eckler and Kelly and Balaj. So just got to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it should be an interesting game to see what happens with San Diego, especially after the way that Herbert performed last week. You almost feel like they'll be able to put up points no matter who they face.
Definitely. Mr. Offensive Rookie of the Year, whether anybody wants to admit that yet or not.
Oh, no, he's not.
You don't think so?
Justin Jefferson has played.
You know what? But you know what? We had this conversation during the live last night, during our play-by-play of the Raiders Dolphins game, and this is a quarterback-driven league, and a prime example of that was last year with Josh Jacobs being snubbed for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Kyler Murray's numbers were not that much of a standout for him.
Murray was a better player than Jacobs, though.
No.
That's why Raiders didn't even play
point.
Jacobs in the red zone.
Two totally different positions is what I'm saying. This is a quarterback-driven league. Mm-hmm. Most likely, Herbert is going to be the one that ends up with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Watch.
I think it's a good possibility, but when you look at it, Jefferson kept his team in the playoff hunt, and I think that sometimes also plays a role in these guys. When you look at Stephon Diggs, who used to be on that team, and he's been replaced by Jefferson, and Jefferson for a rookie is putting up insane numbers. I think it's really hard to put Herbert over him, especially when you're looking at the Vikings team, which is right on the fringe of making the playoffs, versus a Chargers team, which is going absolutely nowhere, and they can't pull out any kind of wins.
Well,
so, I think it is a toss-up, though.
Look at Jefferson's numbers, but who was throwing the ball to Jefferson, or how was Jefferson getting? How was Jefferson getting those numbers?
Cousins is
okay. Then I rest my case. Quarterback-driven league.
But then that means that every quarterback's going to win. There'll be no one that wins other than quarterbacks.
Might as well be at this point. It's like I said. We're looking. I'm telling you now. I'm looking at it as back-to-back years. A quarterback is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jacobs was totally snubbed last year.
Jacobs was not better than Murray last year, though.
Okay.
He was not.
Dude, he was in the top in rushing yards last year.
Okay, but Murray was also in the top. Murray might have had almost as many rushing yards as Jacobs last year.
Yeah,
right?
Look those numbers up on
right. Murray.
He might have
historic seasons rushing for a quarterback in NFL history. In history, when you put up a historic season like that, you can't sit there and tell me Jacobs got snubbed because Murray put up historic numbers with rushing for a quarterback. Right or wrong?
Oh, I wish that I could just pull it up right now, because this is a debate that will go on and on and on and on and on ad nauseum. Like, I'm just curious to know what he did last year where it stood out, because I still truly don't believe that.
There's no debate here.
This is why is that? No, they're not showing me what I'm showing.
2019. Hold on.
Yeah, because I'm trying to pull up 2019 and I'm looking at 2020. Like, why?
I hate some of these sites that give you stats. Like Pro Reference to me is just trash.
That was actually what I was looking at.
They are so trash. Like whenever I get stats on Pro Reference, I'm like, what is this? This is just not kosher.
What is that? All right.
Let's see. Rushing in 2019, he had 544 yards and 4 touchdowns. This year, he had 816 yards and 11 touchdowns. Last year, passing wise, he completed 64% of his passes for 3,722 yards and 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
12 interceptions. Like, that shouts out rookie of the year to you?
How many yards did Jacobs run for?
He was definitely close to 1,000 last year, because I remember towards the end of the season he was like well over 800. Like, they were high on him and his numbers last year as a rookie.
He only has 300 more yards rushing than a quarterback, and then the quarterback throws for 3,700 yards. How can you compare? If he's within 300 yards rushing, right? If let's just say they're within 300 yards rushing, right, and then Kyler Murray throws for an additional 3,700 yards, it's hard to tell me that Kyler Murray wasn't the offensive rookie.
You know, a lot of people looked at it the same way that Jacobs was snubbed, and it's not just Raider fans that felt that way.
Over Murray, it's hard.
Kareem Hunt or Antonio Gibson at the flex.
Oof. What are you thinking here, Hammer?
God. I don't know. With this matchup for Hunt, I feel like he should, like, he's the running back core is going to be the primary targets today. The Browns have one receiver who's not even average, and you have Hooper, who's probably going to be the primary target for Baker Mayfield. I would probably go with Hunt, because he probably will be that swing back today for Mayfield and the Browns.
And I'm gonna say, like, to Hammer's point, the Browns don't have many people there, so Hunt definitely isn't a bad play when you consider everything. But Gibson, when you look at what Gibson's done since before he got hurt, especially that Thanksgiving game where he went off, I think it's really hard to bench Gibson, because when Gibson was playing, he was trending to be the number one.
But there's also something to take into consideration. As of right now, Antonio Gibson is also questionable. The game's at 4:00. You'll know probably not until 2:30 though.
I think I saw somewhere that Gibson is going to play this week, if I remember reading my tweets right. I forgot who sent it. Let me try to pull it up. But I'm pretty sure that Antonio Gibson will be playing today. And I do think that if he is playing, it's going to be hard to bench him. This reminds me a lot of what I was saying with Myles Gaskins last night. He's one of those guys where it's just almost impossible for you to bench him, just because he's so good, so dynamic, and we expect him to have a decent workload. Now, we don't know 100% that he is going to play. Like I said, I thought I saw something. Ian Rappaport was reporting apparently that Gibson will be playing week 16. So he is expected to play today, even though he has the toe status. We're pretty sure that Terry McLaurin will not be playing. So it can factor into a game where Logan Thomas and Gibson have a real good shot and a real good path to points. So I think it's hard to bench Gibson, especially when we see that team in Carolina, which didn't do that great versus the run last week with Aaron Jones. I think that Gibson is hard to bench, but I don't think Hunt is a bad play either. If you can somehow get both of them in your lineup, I think you'd be pretty good.
We shall see.
Mm-hmm.
Some other notable guys that I want to definitely consider for this stardom sit-em today. Right now, for the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm definitely looking at Le'Veon Bell. I know he hasn't started in quite some time, but with Clyde Edwards-Helaire being out and he's expected to miss the rest of the regular season, having the vet like Bell being able to carry 15, 20 touches, like for this offense, I think he might be able to do something today. I think Hill might be out as well today as well.
From what I saw, Hill was practicing. He came back to practice yesterday. He looks like he's saying that he should be playing, but I think this also opens up an opportunity for some of the lesser pass catchers. I think that this could be a game where you see maybe Robinson, Watkins, or Hardman. One of these guys might blow up. I think that this could be a game where Kelsey really gets a lot of these short dump off passes in order to help facilitate some of the offense movement. And they are going to be playing against the Atlanta Falcons, who are horrible versus the pass. So I think this could be a very good situation where maybe we even see Le'Veon Bell being just used a lot in the passing game, getting some of these dump off passes, just because I don't know how much I trust him in the rushing game. When we saw him play, he hasn't really played that well.
Yep. Like I said, that's all most of the Jets doing and not utilizing him to his full potential, but it is what it is.
Bio, you're saying JT as in Jonathan Taylor? If that's Jonathan Taylor, I don't think you can bench Jonathan Taylor at all. I think then you really come down to Gibson versus Hunt. That becomes more of a gut play, and I would probably if Gibson is full go, I think I have to go Gibson just because when he plays, he's a RB1 type player, and he really started to show his breakout.
Agreed. Another one that I'm looking at right now is for the 425 matchup between the Eagles and the Cowboys, and that is Jalen Hurts. The dude is not only a running quarterback, he threw for 328 yards last week. And against such a poor defense that's given up the second most touchdown passes, it looks like Hurts can have another field day today and put some serious numbers up. So if you guys have him or he is on your waiver wire right now, I would try to grab him if you potentially can. And DFS, definitely start Jalen Hurts today, especially if you're doing the 4 o'clock late games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting situation to see what really breaks down in that game, because if you look, Philly and Dallas has moved their way up into a possible chance at maybe getting the division. So I mean they're like what they have 5 wins now, and I think Washington has 6.
Yeah.
So they're only technically 1 game out of that playoff spot, and Dallas has won their last 3 games. So I actually think this is going to be a really interesting game. And with Gallup being out, if you have a CD Lamb on your team, I think this might be a week where CD Lamb finally comes back. Last week we saw Pollard really dominate with no Zeke, but this week Zeke will be back. He will be playing. That is going to be a timeshare more than likely, with Zeke leading it probably 60-40, 70-30. So Pollard probably is not going to be that usable this week, even though he looked great last week. And Zeke, I don't know how much we can trust him when we looked at what he's done over these last couple of weeks for you.
Yep.
So
another one, wide receiver, Darnell Mooney of the Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. He's been one of the most benefactors of the surprising resurgence of Mitch, and
but like he's so inconsistent.
Like, yeah, but you know what? Like all of a sudden, it's almost like Trubisky was reborn in somewhat of a way. If you want to put him as like a wide receiver 3,
no, I couldn't put him as a wide receiver 3. He
or flex, like. But he's looked good ever since I guess Trubisky had a coming to Jesus moment. Well, he's really turned around a little bit. He's really turned around.
If we look at since week 12, in week 12 he had 9 targets, which is really good, but he had three catches for 34 yards and a 2-point conversion. Then in week 13 he had 6 targets for 4 catches and 43 yards. In week 14 he had 1 rushing attempt for 5 yards, 2 catching, 2 targets for 2 receptions and 22 yards and a touchdown. So that is his week 14. Week 15 last week, he had 5 targets for 49 yards, 4 catches, 1 rushing touchdown. One rushing attempt for 16 yards, and he caught a pass touchdown. So he has been trending up over the last 4 weeks. He is playing Jacksonville, which isn't a great team. But it's going to be really hard when you see a guy like David Montgomery really going off, when you see a guy like A-Rob who's been beasting. If A-Rob doesn't play, then maybe you could look at, Mooney as being much more of a play. But I think if A-Rob is healthy, Kmet is there, Montgomery is there, it's a deep shot home run possibility.
He's
a home run hitter who's going to strike out 3 out of 4 times.
It is, but look at it from this standpoint. Like you just said, they're playing Jacksonville. That secondary has given up almost 40 fantasy points per game to opposing wideouts. Like, who's to say that Trubisky ain't just going to share the ball and let everybody shine today?
Yeah, but then that's a situation if he's sharing the ball and letting everyone shine. There's a good possibility he's going to be looking at about an 8-point game. And an 8-point game ain't good. Like, Myles Gaskins scored 33. So it's like when you look at some of the plays, that's like, do you have a better play? Like, I would probably play like a guy like Marvin Hall over him because Marvin Hall is the only wide receiver for the Browns. So his volume should be just pretty good. And I think my favorite part about Trubisky is he started the season 5-1?
Yeah.
And then they took him out.
Yep.
And then they lost like 6.
Yep.
And now he came back and he's won.
Yep.
So they only for this season. So I think that's my favorite part about that whole situation.
Damien, this is probably one of the first times you've been in my podcast. Behave yourself. I will put you in timeout. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Demented Damien.
It's very possible he could run for 2. And I think if you need Hunt and Juju to smash and A-Rob to be limited, you're looking at the short end of the stick, as they say. I think it's going to be a very interesting situation. I think if A-Rob is healthy with the way that Trubisky uses him, be scared.
Well, we talked about it during our preseason rankings, and we said that core between Trubisky and Allen Robinson was going to be something to look at, and decent when Trubisky has been the starter, and it could only go up from here. Do you think Pollard's still a flex if Zeke plays? I feel like Zeke is going to be on a snap count today. In somewhat of a sense, I feel like he's going to be on a snap count today.
I mean, I haven't seen anything that suggests that with Zeke. I think that's something that we gotta. It's just a sticky situation where you kind of have to just see what the reports are before the game and then go with it. I mean, Pollard, the last couple of weeks, he's gotten some garbage time scores. He's looked like the better running back. I mean, visibly, if you look at the 2 running backs, he looks better. He did way better versus the 49ers run defense than either Drake or Edmonds did. So he's definitely looking like a pretty solid play. But I'm not going to lie. It's not like, let's put it like this. He's still more of like a praying flex. Like if you put him in your flex, you're praying that you do something. If your other options are Lamb and Gage, I would definitely gravitate more towards Gage when you think about the fact that Julio Jones is out this week again.
What else?
They're going to be facing Kansas City, which is a high-powered offense, so they could be behind early, which would give a tendency for Gage to actually come on and really be a good play this week. If those are the 3 options, I would probably lean towards Gage, Lamb, and then Pollard. But again, Pollard could be the one that ends up getting a touchdown and doing something really late. But at the end of the day, I would say Gage would be my number 1 choice.
Look at this. Guys, need help on who to start. Full PPR, have to start 2 running backs. I have Henry, Hunt, Bell, Gibson, Gordon, and Jacksonville. Jesus, bro. You are stacked to begin with. Could put 1 in the flex, but would have to sit A-Rob, Diggs, or Adams. This is to get into the Super Bowl, and I'm torn. Please help. Who do I start? Yo, do you see what this guy has?
Yeah. I mean, I think
who does Tennessee play tonight? Is it Green Bay?
Yep, but it doesn't matter. Henry has to play. You can't bench Henry. Henry has to play. He's the number 1 running back that you have on this team.
Like I just said about the Browns-Jets matchup, I see Hunt having upside, especially as a swing back with no receivers, and the only other option is going to be Hooper.
Yeah, but also when you look at Gordon's going to be in a situation where there's no Phillip Lindsay this week, and Gordon's been running hot the last couple of weeks.
And who are they playing today? Chargers.
Yeah, it's Chargers versus Denver. And when you look at the Hunt situation, we also have to remember there's Chubb there. So it's not like if Chubb wasn't there, then everything you're saying about Hunt, I'm fully there. But with Chubb being there, when you look at Hunt, you kind of have to look at him and say, yeah, but it's like, yeah, Hunt has a great matchup, but there's still Chubb. Yeah, Hunt can get some points in because there's no wide receivers, but there's Chubb and Hooper. So yes, I do agree. Hunt is an interesting play. If I wasn't so deep, this would be, or if you weren't so deep, this would be a much easier decision. But I think Henry, Gibson, Gordon, Bell, Hunt. That would be how I'd probably rank them. Gibson, I'm when you look at what Gibson has done, he's a beast. He's a stud. Period. He's an RB1 when he's healthy. And Carolina is not a defense you fear. So I would say it's hard to bench Gibson, especially when more than likely he's part of the reason why you're here. Like Gibson had some huge weeks. And you could put one in the flex, but you'd have to sit A-Rob, Diggs, or Adams. Devontae Adams, you can't sit. He's a stud. A-Rob, if A-Rob's hurt, then you can slide one in. I think that really depends on what the injuries say. And Diggs, I mean, Diggs is saying that he's fully go. We expect him to really full go. He is one of the best receivers in the game, so it's hard to bench him, but he does have an interesting matchup versus New England. New England is a team that plays Buffalo really well.
Like, anytime Adams is playing, I'm all in on Adams. So that's just a given. Dude is with Rodgers, he is just, oh my God, that battery is just something special, man. I love watching them together. I really do. Here we go. Pick one. Flex. Robbie Anderson, Tyler Lockett, or Mooney. We were just talking about Mooney. Lockett is actually a sit today. Lockett is a sit today. Yeah, Lockett is a sit, and this is I'm going to tell you why. Russell Wilson's numbers have plummeted, and Tyler Lockett's fantasy value has fallen off a damn cliff.
Yeah, it has.
He has been borderline unstartable since this slide, so I would not start Tyler Lockett today.
Here's the one thing I got to say about Lockett. We have to look at this game as it's an isolated situation. This game is versus the Rams.
A good defense too, bro.
Jalen Ramsey shadowing DK Metcalf all game. So this is a game where Tyler Lockett may be the focal wide receiver. Now, I would start Darrell Henderson over all of them because Darrell Henderson is going to be the lead back with no Akers. But Robbie Anderson last week really tossed a dud. And how much do you trust him in that situation when you're expecting to have Curtis Samuel? You're expecting to have Robbie Anderson. You're expecting to have, more. So I think that I would probably go Darrell 1, Lockett 2, Anderson 3. And the reason why I go Lockett there is just because of the situation that DK is going to be in. DK is going to be facing Ramsey. So I expect Ramsey to be, really shutting down DK, and it's going to open up a spot for Tyler. And for the other one, I would say that, Darrell Henderson, Gio Bernard. Yeah, definitely Darrell Henderson will be the highest of the two. Gio last week was a fluke. What he did versus Pittsburgh last week was a fluke, and I think it was because I was playing Giovanni Bernard. That was his best game of the season. His last two games before that were trash, and Pittsburgh is traditionally good versus the run. So I just don't know what happened there last week with Gio. I would hesitantly start him. Like if you're starting him and you don't have any other choices, yes, but I would definitely put Darrell Henderson over him because I think the workload and he's just a better runner. But that's a toss-up because Gio could do what he did last week and just shock everyone. So I would lean toward Henderson, though.
Antonio, we touched on Gibson earlier, and the one thing, just keep an eye out for the release of the actives inactives for today, because as of right now, he still is questionable. So take that into consideration before you really make your final go-ahead move on your lineup today.
And like I was saying, I think it was Shefty who was reporting he should be full systems go. So I think if he's healthy and he's playing, I don't know how much of a reduced workload we're going to see from him in this game, especially because they need this win. Washington needs this win. They want to win the division. They are not trying to lose. That's not how Ron Rivera plays. So if Gibson is healthy enough to go, he's going to be the goal line back. He's going to be in the red zone. He's going to get touches. So that's the one thing I do got to say about Gibson. In the playoffs, it's hard to bench your studs.
Definitely is. No problem, Crown Trend. Anything we could do to help. Robert Woods or Allen Robinson? Damn, I feel like we're talking about A-Rob ad nauseum this morning. Woods against the defense in who are they playing? The Seahawks. Their defense has not been the best this year.
I got Woods all systems.
I definitely would go with Woods, and Woods is another one of my top guys going into the season and preseason rankings. I'm definitely going to go with Woods on that one.
I also think that this is a situation where you really can't go wrong with either one of them because they have good matchups.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure that you have to have someone worse on your team than these two guys, because I think both these two guys are pretty top line. You're talking about two top 15 wide receivers right here. So I think it's hard to really try to pick between these two because I think both could have good games. If Allen Robinson's healthy, facing a Jacksonville Jaguars defense with the way Trubisky likes to throw him, I think it's hard. And Woods has been a super solid receiver versus a porous team in Seattle in a game where this is for the division. So you're going to see Seattle and the Rams going all in, trying to do everything they can to win. So getting the ball to your playmakers is something that they have to do. So I think that's just a really tough situation, Cole.
We went back and forth during our preseason rankings for receivers, and the one thing that we were talking about was having a team that has two legit receivers on their team, and it was between, for the Rams, Woods and Kupp. Woods has been the one that stood out the entire season, so now this dude is a solidified number one on that team. There ain't no back and forth no more, no who has the hot hand on this week. Woods is where it's at for the Rams right now.
Yep,
most definitely.
And I like the way that they try to involve him because he, especially in PPR leagues, we have short passes, 1 point little catches, just like that. It made Woods for me really good. So even if he doesn't get his touchdowns, he definitely gets his patches. And Cole is without a doubt, I probably have to go Koo. Koo has been probably the highest scoring kicker so far. Rodrigo has played good, but this the weird part about Koo's game is that he's facing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs' offense is dynamic. Question is, how far down are they going to be? Are they going to stop going for field goals and they're going to go for touchdowns? I don't know. I think that's a weird situation, but probably Koo would be the guy just because he's been the better scorer. But I mean, again, you're between two really good kickers. Indiana's kicker, Rodrigo, has been solid. He has put up numbers and points. So, I mean, you really can't go wrong either way. Both are really solid kickers. I thankfully went with the guy that I've been touting all year, my boy from Oakland, Carlson, the kicker, baby. I love that Jacobs took that knee at the 1 yard line to ensure that they kicked that field goal.
That was not why they did it. So cut your shit right now.
Because they wanted to kill clock. They wanted to kill clock, right? But it led to the field goal, right?
Yep.
And that was all I was praying for because I had Gaskins and I was like, oh shit, maybe we can get a field goal and they win the game or fucking get the field goal. And they got the field goal, 13 points from you.
Claypool or John Brown if he plays.
Interesting. Claypool. Oh my God.
Some of y'all got some stacked ass leagues. I don't even think I'd want to join a league with you guys next year.
Well, I'll be honest, I want to wring Claypool's neck because he was so horrible last week. Oh my God. I was watching that game and Claypool did nothing. I'm sitting there. I'm like, is he playing?
Against the Bungles. Come on.
Bro, that game, that I was in a 50-50 split to go to the finals, right? And I literally was facing Giovanni Bernard, and I had Claypool, and I picked up one of the backup running backs because I had Connor and he was out, and I got demolished.
What up, Jake?
Oof.
This is a serious question. No, I'm joking with you.
I think in this situation, you have to go Hooper just because there's no pass catchers for the Browns. Like, volume is the number one thing in fantasy football that we look for. So there could be better players than you, but because you have so much more volume, it just makes more sense. So Goddard's going to be in a huge battle with Sanders, Ertz. You have what's his face, Rieger, interesting out there. They have Miles Sanders who like to get the ball to. So I think Goddard is just in a much more crowded situation where Hooper and Baker have already established a good rapport at this point in the season, and they're facing a bad Jets team where I expect Hooper to probably be the number one playmaker for Baker going downfield.
Yep. Hooper is a must start today. I don't care what anybody says. With the volume that he's attracting right now, with all these receivers in Cleveland out, and I believe that the tight ends put up some serious numbers against the Jets. Go with Hooper.
And then in that situation with Claypool or John Brown, Claypool's been horrible these last couple of weeks, and John Brown coming back. I just don't know what kind of situation it's going to be. If Diggs is not playing or if Diggs is limited, I definitely probably would lean a little bit more toward Brown. But I would say this: it's really hard to play John Brown if you have Cole Beasley and Diggs there. So I think that you might have to lean towards Claypool, even though he's been horrible.
I like Hooper over anybody right now. There's no receivers in Cleveland, ladies and gentlemen. They all got the Roro. Like,
yeah,
this is a given today.
I think just because of volume, I would put Hooper over Fant, but that's not to say Fant can't put up a good game. So this is a situation where, you're just going to have to play the volume and hope. This is where the skill and luck comes in. Skill is knowing that the guy's going to get more opportunity. Luck is who actually does something with it. So I would lean Hooper over Fant, but it's not a given, especially when Fant has been one of the best tight ends in the game so far this season. And last week he had his best game so far. I think he had 8 catches. He caught a touchdown. He looked like he was the escape option for Locke. But I don't think we expect that too much in it versus the Chargers defense, which is not that great. So I think it's
Jake. The defense is trash. I'm sorry, Jake.
And I hate to say it, Jake, but Justin Jefferson, Rookie of the Year. Just saying.
So I want to thank the guys that have come in from Twitch, because I've only broadcasted off my Twitch account. Doing this anyways twice. So guys, please follow that Twitch account, because again, I'm new to that. I gamed a few times here and there. I am a gamer, but to have you guys come in from Twitch to watch this broadcast, it definitely means a lot, and I definitely appreciate that. So please make sure to follow. Having a tough decision with Janu Smith. Hold up. I'm gonna get back to you in a sec. Hold on. Tight end PPR, Fant or Tanyan?
Fant. I think Tanya's just in a situation where it's just too many bodies, compared to Fant, where he's really emerged as the escape option when we know that Rodgers has Adams, Rodgers has, Jones. And I think that those two put, Tanyan at 3 to 4 on the pecking order, where Fant is probably number 1. So I'd definitely go Fant, but that's not to say Tanyan can't do anything.
Chosen Rose having tough decision with tight ends. Janu Smith, Tyler Higbee, or K-Met?
That's interesting. K-Man has been pretty solid over these last couple of weeks as being the number 1 tight end option for the Bears. Higbee is really interesting because he's someone that's frustrating, and that's going to be a really interesting game to predict with the Rams. I know that they try to get him involved, and he's not a horrible tight end. And Jonnu Smith, he has big blow-up potential, but he also has dud potential. Tennessee is facing Green Bay. I feel like the safest option here might be Jonnu. I think that Jonnu has touchdown upside, and I think that's a game where Tennessee, 1, is going to go to play to win, and 2, it should be a shootout, so they should keep trying to score. So I probably lean towards Smith, followed by Higbee, and then Kmet.
Will Williams have more targets today against Denver, or will we see more utility between? I see,
run, baby.
I see a split. I really do. I see especially depending on what they're doing with Keenan Allen, I see a split between Mike Williams and Ty Johnson. I've seen Ty Johnson play a couple of games like solid, and I feel like he's another good weapon for Herbert. I think it's going to be a split between the two of them, though.
You know who I think might have the most targets though for the Chargers this day?
Oh.
Austin Eckler. I think this is definitely a game where Austin Eckler with no Keenan Allen, you could see Austin Eckler really start to shine. Austin Eckler, not last week, but the week before, it was just phenomenal, and he's looked great. And I think that this definitely could be a big Austin Eckler game. And I like Tyrone Johnson. I think it's hard to tell who's going to have the most targets here. Mike Williams has shown some great games. Tyron Johnson has shown some flashes. Guyton, they get him the ball. I think that this is just a situation where it really depends on like who you have, if you're starting Johnson or not. I'm starting him in a few leagues just because compared to some waiver wire options, I think he has some really good upside. I think Ty Johnson with no Keenan Allen definitely looks a lot better. But if there is Keenan Allen, I don't think you can play him. Last night, Shefty was saying that Keenan Allen is out, but this morning I heard reports that he might play. So that's just a situation where we kind of still have to watch and see. That's kind of one of the ones where you decide after 11:30, 11:40. That's why also at 11:50 I do my own start sit for the Daily Sporting, which is what I do. I do a lot of fantasy sports coverage, so we'll be covering the full active and inactive lists as they come out. And
that game is on. That game is on at 4:00, so you still got plenty of time for them to make a decision on that. You're probably not going to hear anything until about 2:30. 2:30 this afternoon as a final decision for the 4:00 game. So just stay tuned and check out Taco at the Daily Sporting, and he'll definitely keep you guys updated as well. Do I start Hill today since he is limited?
If he's healthy, he's playing. You don't bench
him. I do feel they'll play him, but I agree with this. I feel that he will be limited. They're going into the playoffs. I know they are off. They had the bye week, but you want to have him fully healthy going into the playoffs. So I think he may be limited. I'm not saying he's not going to play, but I definitely believe he's going to be limited. Do I start him today? What do you think about that? Because I'm kind of up in the air. I don't know if I'd necessarily take the risk, depending on this is a championship or this is DFS.
Who are you starting him over? That's the question. Neil, I think that's the real question that you have is who are you starting him over? Because Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. He is the leading receiver in the NFL or top 3. So to bench him for who? That's the question. I'm a big firm believer in you cannot bench your stars, especially in the playoffs when you know Tyreek Hill on one play can go 80 yards and get a touchdown. So I think that's hard. And Jake, I definitely agree. Eckler hasn't been seen by Denver, and I think it's a situation where he can definitely just really dominate. I think Eckler is a top flight running back in this league, and the Chargers have a good one there. Komet or Logan Thomas. I'm a big Logan Thomas guy. He's been blowing up over his last couple of weeks, and there's no Terry McLaurin this week. So I think it's hard to not play Logan Thomas, especially with how he's played over these last few weeks.
Would you start Ridley or Hill considering Hill might be limited? I need someone with a safe floor because I have Kamara. Oh, God.
If you have Kamara and you have Ridley or Hill, who are you going to play over Hill? That's my question. If you're debating these two guys, who AJ Brown instead of Hill? Well, AJ Brown is hard to bench. I mean, you must be playing in a 10-team league if you have Ridley, Hill, Kamara, and AJ Brown.
I'm telling you, some of your guys' leagues, man. I couldn't do it.
There's no way I'm benching either one of those 3. I'm not benching any of them. To be honest with you, if you told me to rank them, I'm probably gonna rank Ridley 1, AJ Brown 2, and Tyreek Hill 3, only because of injury. But it's like you're ranking 3 top players. I think all 3 have a good chance to score.
Yo, this is you guys are asking so many interesting start sits today. This is amazing. This is a great way.
Championship week. So we got Zerline or Young Koo. Nervous about Koo's matchup. Yeah, I'm nervous about Koo's matchup too because they can be blown out early and he doesn't get the field goals. But also, if you look at the way Atlanta's played, Atlanta gets a lot of field goals. They kick a lot of field goals. So it's hard to just bench Koo when he's been the number 1 scoring kicker. So, I definitely agree with you. Zerline definitely has a good opportunity, but these are kickers.
Look at it. Yo, this looks like the 6 on, what is it in the new Madden? The yard? That's what this team looks like right here. Bro.
DK, AJ, Hill, and Ridley.
Jesus.
And Kamara. Yeah, you have to be in a dynasty league then in order to have these guys. Because DK and AJ, you could probably get late. Josh Allen and Lamar. That's not bad.
DK or T.Y. Hilton. Who do Colts have today?
Colts.
I gotta look this up. Let me see, because this is.
Here's one of the toughest.
Steelers. They had the Steelers.
Here's one of the toughest situations here. Hilton has started to come on. So Hilton started as a dud.
Yep.
He started to come on.
Yep.
DK has been, I think, probably the number 1 yardage wide receiver in the game.
Yes.
But DK is going to be drawing Jalen Ramsey this week. So it's a situation where buyer beware, but I'm going to have to stick with the same old song I've been singing. You can't bench your studs in some of these games. I understand it's a bad situation, but more than likely DK brought you to the dance. T.Y. Hilton, he probably didn't, and you got him off the waiver wire, and he has an intriguing matchup, and you're thinking about playing him, so it's really tough. Yes, sometimes you can hit on those situations, but more often than not, I can't bench my studs.
Yo, I can't get over that. Another one, Josh Allen and Lamar. Yo,
Yeah. I mean, I had Herbert and Mahomes for a while. And then like my receivers were DK Metcalf, Will Fuller, Robert Woods, Ayuk. So I had a little squad. I got Aaron, Kyler, nice. Gaskins, Elliott,
Yo,
Eckler.
you guys got some deep teams, man. I
And you got Kittle on there. Oof. I'm running with
crazy.
I got what is it? Andrews as my tight end. I had Gaskins and Draco. Oh, Gaskins. Tell me that Gaskins game didn't feel like ecstasy.
Can you stop? Stop.
That is exactly what I don't know if you ever heard the song with 50 Cent and G Unit where they said it took me to ecstasy without taking ecstasy. That's how I felt when I watched Myles Gaskin last night. And then watching Carlson. Oh my God, what a game.
You need to stop.
He brought up Gaskins. I couldn't help it, bro. Gaskins. Gaskins.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, this is gonna suck for these guys. It really is.
Yeah.
All right. Last question before we roll out, because I gotta go and do that work thing. Adulting sucks, ladies and gentlemen. PPR, who do I start? Zeke or Gio Bernard or Lev Bell? I told you how I felt about Bell today, and I have Bell as a start today.
I think that's you're looking at three situations where I probably wouldn't want either one of them.
What up, Key? What up?
I think after what Gio Bernard did, he might be the first choice that I have, but I don't know if he can repeat that. Oh my God! Honestly, I'm gonna stick to my same song. I would go with Zeke, Bell, Gio. Reason I go Zeke here, he is your stud. It's a situation where Zeke hasn't been playing great, but it is Philadelphia. He could get a touchdown easily. Lev Bell, he just hasn't looked good. He got cut from the Jets, for God's sakes.
He wanted out. He wanted out. Stop. He wanted out, and obviously they had a plan, and that plan still failed because they beat the Rams like a bunch of jackasses.
Right. They should have beat the Raiders.
Fucking
Bro, I couldn't help it. You know that game was BS too. That was a miracle win.
Go fly a kite with your G, man.
Oh, come on. That was a wide open shot.
All right. We are done because I gotta.
It's not bad, but I definitely don't think that the Eagles, when Zeke is right, are really going to stop him. At least when you compare him to Le'Veon Bell, who I don't think is really going to get that much work. I think it's a game where Mahomes can easily throw for 4. Remember, Mahomes is trying to win that MVP. So I definitely
trying.
Well, Rodgers right now, Rodgers is right there with him.
Mahomes is still getting up.
I don't know. Rodgers.
If Mahomes gets it,
Rodgers just because it's the last one.
If Mahomes gets it this year, Mahomes should have had it for 3 years. That little injury that he had last year, he still came out, won the Super Bowl MVP. He should have been a three-time MVP of the league.
The only thing about that though is that Lamar Jackson put up a historic season too, so it's not like
look at him now. Look at him this year.
we're talking. I mean, he's starting to get hot now. For everything you could say, Lamar Jackson now is starting to look hot. His last couple of games, he's starting to look like it. But I agree, Neil. I think it's a real toss up, and it really depends on these last couple of games. But Rodgers, he's played with less talent.
He's absolutely looked amazing.
And
he's looking like Rodgers is old because he's scared that he's got someone in the shadows waiting to take his spot.
He was pretty good last year. They went to the NFC Championship game last year.
They did, and they drafted a quarterback, and he was not too thrilled about that.
And guess what? That quarterback ain't seen the light of day, especially when you see Aaron Rodgers get another MVP. And I think the NFL might give the MVP to Rodgers for the fact is this might be the last time for him to win it. And he's one of the all-time greats. So I think some of these writers might lean that way because when you look at it, he doesn't have the same weapons that Mahomes has.
Truth.
So,
all right. So we're going to roll out because I got to go do the adulting thing. Guys, I appreciate every single person that came in here today. Please smash that subscribe button on my channel, Hammer's House. Please check out my boy, the talented Dirty Taco, that way, on the Daily Sporting. They're on Facebook. They're on YouTube. They're on Instagram. They're on Twitter. And make sure to check out everybody at Spotlight. You got Key. You got Jake. You got Ghoulie. You got Darian. The whole crew. All the descriptions, all the links are in the description. Make sure to subscribe and follow to each and every single one of us, and definitely make sure to check out the Daily Sporting as well. Taco's going to be doing an additional stardom sit-em with inactives and actives as they roll out within the next 38 minutes.
Yeah, and I should be going live with that probably around 11:50ish. Also, what we're gonna do, we cover a lot of DFS, so we cover like some of the values of some of these players and who we think might be a big play this week. So we're gonna go with that. But definitely, yeah, we're hyped here. Hammer, what are you feeling today, bro? Who do you have as being that number one guy where it's like, yo, bro, you should have started him? Who's your number one? You should have started him.
One person I've been ranting about this entire time, and that's Austin Hooper, just because of the COVID Cleveland, as Neil is saying. I love that right now. COVID Cleveland. Yeah, I'm very high on Austin Hooper today, and he wasn't a guy even in the remote for tight ends this year that I was very high on in my preseason rankings. But today is the day.
Yep,
I'm going with Hooper today.
And I think that's the beautiful part about fantasy football. Jeff Wilson Jr. last night probably won some people some championships. This is probably his first start of the season.
And we were just talking about him last weekend. And I said to start him last weekend too. So
last weekend, I didn't think he did that good. This week, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, guys, we are rolling out.
I go Corey Davis over all of them. Corey Davis is a stud. Hard to bench him.
We're a couple days early, but I want to wish everybody a healthy, happy, safe New Year. I know we're still in these difficult times, but we're pushing through it now. And I wish all you guys, your loved ones, the best. And as we roll out, like I always like to say, make sure to wash your hands and your asses.